Welcome to Thiaoouba Truth, a series of cassettes that explores the world of Thiaoouba. Published in 1993, Michel Desmarquet's Abduction to the Ninth Planet was exactly that, a first-hand account of his 9-day sojourn to the golden planet of Thiaoouba. Today the book is better known as Thiaoouba Prophecy. In just a few years it has become a publishing storm internationally, with sellout editions in Australia, the United States, as well as the Far East and Europe. The book details Michel's experiences on one of the 3 most advanced planets in our galaxy. The people of Thiaoouba shared a broad range of knowledge about the mysteries of the universe and the purpose of life on Earth and other planets. Today, Michel will discuss some of the things he learned and the message Thiaoouba has for the people of planet Earth. Well, Michel, thanks for coming today. Firstly, let's begin at the beginning. Can you discuss with us a brief rundown of your abduction?
Yes, Michael, with pleasure. And it's very simple. I was actually in my bed. I was sleeping. And suddenly I awake, and I was fresh and ready to go, like if it was the morning. And look, next to me it was my wife sleeping, and so I say, she always sleeps, so I can go to the kitchen and see the time. And I dressed up, I see the time, and at my surprise it was 12:30 on midnight. And suddenly I became like a zombie in my own house, if you like. I saw myself like if it was a second Michel watching the first one. I saw myself writing a note to my wife. I will be away for 10 days. And I don't know why I've done that. I put that under the telephone, and turning back, as I say already, I was like a zombie in my own house. I walk away, and I walk under the veranda. I live next to the rainforest. I went down the stairs, walk on the grass, and suddenly, in front of the house the grass became bluish and reddish under my feet. I say, what's going on here? I've been, surprised of that, and I say, am I dreaming of something? I want to go home, maybe I'm sick. And at the same moment, I've been lifted from the ground and seen my house in the misty light of the stars. I saw my house disappearing under me. That was pretty frightful. I was surprised of that.
Michel, at that time, how were you thinking? Like, am I insane? I mean, that's an
extraordinary
experience.
I was, wondering. I wanted to go home. It was too late. I've been lifted. And I appear in front of a huge human being, about 10 foot high, who told me it's okay, because I said, oh my God, it's okay, Michel, everything is alright. I said, that's it, it's a dream. It's a dream. It's not a nightmare, because it was beautiful, that person was nice, but it is a dream. What am I doing here? And she talked to me in French, which is my own language, mother language. And if you read the beginning of the book, I report that because it was so funny, so stupid. It sounded like a dream. I say, what are you doing next to my house? She said, we are not. We are in a parallel universe. And why are you talking French to me? We are in Australia. We speak English. She answered to me, yes, so do I, in English. I say, that's it. It's a stupid dream. I'm going to be on the carpet, and it's a nightmare, falling off my bed, dropping on the carpet like it's happened in a dream. And she laughed and she said, no, it's okay. We came to take you for a journey which nobody's done, at least in this century. You have to remember that later, because that is very important.
What about the planet itself? Can you describe, I guess, very briefly, some of the physical characteristics?
That's what I say. It's a bit like I think everybody got the idea of a paradise. It's the first of all, the what do you call the publishing wanted to call it Abduction or Thiaoouba Prophecy, but I wanted to call it myself the Golden Planet. Is the reason for that? Mm-hmm. When I first saw it in a spacecraft by we can call television, if you like, on a panel, appearing there, it is a halo of golden. If you go in a blue mountain got a sort of misty blue.
Yes, beautiful.
Over there, everything around the planet, everywhere, is a sort of misty golden. Mm-hmm. It's very, very beautiful. First. Secondly, the air, everything is like crystal pure. Mm-hmm. And the water, of course. The trees seem to be in the daytime. The light came out of the leaf of the trees. Mm. If you imagine, we have example 10 different or 15 different shade of red. As I say in the book over there, you got 100 different. It's incredible, the beauty. Of course, the gravity were absolutely different. Like I weighed 70 kilo on the planet Earth. Over there I weighed about 47. Mm-hmm. So everything is gigantic. The very gigantic trees, gigantic butterflies, gigantic birds. You would really love to live there. It's a real paradise. Everything, also, of course, they have a tremendous technology. Like an idiot, when I went on that island, I say, "Oh, do you have a well or a boat to take your water?" Like in Cairns, in Green Island, we bring it by tank, the water. And they laugh at me. They say, "No, here, Michel, we transform the air into water."
We continue our series of Thiaoouba Truth cassettes, this time examining life on the planet Thiaoouba, the Golden Planet, covering everything from the people's day-to-day existence through to the lessons they must learn and continue to evolve. Firstly, Michel, can you describe what these evolved beings actually look like?
Yes, Michael, it's very simple. You would dream to look like them. Maybe not because they look like a woman, but the woman is always looking beautiful on that planet Earth. And first of all, they are hermaphrodites. And I hope you know what is an hermaphrodite. They have both sex, male and female. Mm-hmm. But they look more like the face is more like a woman. Also, they have breasts like a woman. And the hips are a bit like a woman. And when I asked Tao where they were looking like that, and she said, "Is it better to look beautiful than, anyway, they have a beautiful skin, they have a beautiful physical, they have generally very, very light color hair, going from very pale blonde to reddish hair, but never dark. Mm-hmm. The very, very blonde skin. And perfect visage, perfect face. Everything is perfect. Mm. So I have to say, it's, as I say before, it's a bit like to be in a paradise to see people like that.
Magnificent.
Now, a very strange things happen when I disembark of that spacecraft over there, if you like. Very strange, because when I saw people, I met people there, they all look the same age. And that surprised me. The good age, if you like, I don't know what the good age on Earth is, about 22, is it? So they look the good age, like all the same age. And when I asked that, they say they had the ability of regenerating themselves at will. It surprised me, but of course they are very, very high, they have knowledge. So, I didn't ask so much. I was amazed, and that how they live. They live, their physical body can be regenerated at will, so they don't age, and also they live a perfect life.
Welcome back. We continue our series of Thiaoouba Truth, this time examining some of the mysteries of our planet Earth, which are covered in Michel Desmarquet's extraordinary non-fiction book, Thiaoouba Prophecy. Michel, your book reveals many truths regarding Earth's greatest mysteries. Some of them, for example, are about the Great Pyramid of Egypt, which we've touched on today. With that, can you, detail a little bit more the purpose behind the Great Pyramid? You mentioned, of course, it's a communications tool used by ancient civilizations. Can you expand a little bit more along that line?
Yes, what I say, actually, you have the scientists who send the message in space, and saying sending to message in space to have communication with extraterrestrial, even if they tell you in the street they don't believe in extraterrestrial. So they send a message at the speed of light, which is very quick, by radio, and they can receive a message in 10 years or 20 years, because the speed of light, even if you think it's fast, the planets inhabited are very, very far in a galaxy, and they will receive in 10 or 20 years or 50 years a message back. So we say, hello, how are you? And they say, we are very well, thank you. You can't have a real conversation, a real contact like that. I think I told you that a few minutes ago, but I didn't explain maybe really what's happened with the Great Pyramid. It was, first of all, the first pyramid on Earth was being built by the people of Mu in Pacific Ocean. They had a very great continent there, which was touching the top, about where Los Angeles is, going to Hawaii, going down there to Easter Island, and the west, it's about 2 or 3 times the size of Australia, almost 3 times the size of Australia. That big continent had great knowledge from the planet where they came from very, very long time ago. And that knowledge was to communicate through the galaxy immediately. What is an immediate communication? It is the telepathy, it is the thought. If I'm thinking now, I am in Thiaoouba, I can immediately think about my Doko, about Tao, and things I saw there. You know that? If you think about a parent in London, example, immediately you picture it. To do that, that's good, but it's good you don't have enough strength in yourself to telepath further than our solar system. It's already good. You can, if you are able to do that, if you are trained to do that, you have enough strength in your physical body to help and to communicate with people on Mars or Venus, or if people were in Venus, example, which is not. But Mars was inhabited, you could communicate with Mars. But if you want to communicate through the galaxy and go very, very much further, and also in different parallel universe, different worlds, you need an immense strength. So those people knew that, and they had a tremendous knowledge and technology, and they built a pyramid. The first pyramid was at Savanassa, was 3 times the size of the pyramid of Cheops.
And Savanassa was on the continent of Mu, wasn't it?
On the continent of Mu.
Yep.
Savanassa was the capital of Mu, actually. Mm-hmm. And they had built that pyramid, and they had built also the pyramid with big, big, big stone, not like we think they built the pyramid with slaves and stuff like that, but simply by the knowledge of anti-gravitation, which make everything weightless. So 50 tons stone can be lifted just by anti-gravitation with a little apparatus which is not bigger than a box of matches.
My God.
And move with one man. They had to, because it's a great job. Not only they build the pyramid, but also inside the pyramid, it is a shaft with like a cannon, if you like, where at the beginning your thoughts are going to be directed to a special place they knew inside the galaxy, into the galaxy, to send the message. Okay. Now, you imagine even if you had a pyramid in, I don't know, in carton or timber, and you could move the pyramid and look through a shaft and say, go, 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 no, stop, yeah. And like a cannon to shoot a star somewhere, it would be already a bit difficult. But if you build the pyramid by the bottom and you don't pierce the shaft, you build the shaft inside the pyramid, imagine the knowledge you need, not only engineer, but also great architects, mathematician, to know how to do it. Also, the pyramid has to be built with the right orientation, I mean south-north or southeast, etc., and with a special dimension. You are going to tell me, Michel, I still don't understand what's going on. because the pyramid is simple. The pyramid is made and built like that with that knowledge to create a tremendous magnetic field inside the pyramid, which also, by the way, is field outside the pyramid. For that example, as I said before, in Egypt, which is a replica of the Pyramid of Mu, the planes actually are forbidden to pass on the top of the Great Pyramid because everything electronic could stop. Now, the person inside the pyramid, inside the chamber of the king, is a person who used it. It was at that time a priest or the pharaoh itself. On Mu, it was the king of Mu or the great master they had who was using the pyramid because the tremendous force, a magnetic field inside the pyramid gives them, it's difficult to explain to you, but a sort of zero force. The anti-gravity force was zero and gives them a great possibility, a great strength to send thoughts through the galaxy and receive message like a conversation. A conversation through the galaxy using the pyramid. For that, I call that in my book, the pyramid as a cosmic tool.